You know the feeling. You're seeing someone online turn a small amount of money into a life-changing amount. And something in your chest tightens. Not envy exactly. Something closer to fear. The fear that everyone else figured something out, and you're the only one still standing still. That feeling has convinced more smart, careful, thoughtful people to do reckless things with their money than almost anything else in the world. Not stupidity. Not carelessness. Fear disguised as opportunity. Let me tell you about someone I'll call Daniel. Daniel was the kind of person who read the fine print. He compared interest rates before opening a savings account. He had a spreadsheet for his expenses since he was 22. His friends teased him for being the responsible one, the one who'd say no to a spontaneous weekend trip because he was saving for something bigger. Then one evening, scrolling through his phone, he saw it. A trend. Everyone he followed seemed to be talking about the same investment. Screenshots of gains. Countdown timers. Comments from strangers saying they quit their jobs because of this one decision. Daniel didn't jump in right away. He was smart, remember? He researched for 2 days. But here's the thing about research when fear is already sitting in the driver's seat. You don't look for reasons to say no, you look for permission to say yes. He found enough of it. He always does. There's always a headline, a chart, a confident voice explaining why this time is different. So he moved money he couldn't really afford to lose. Not because he was foolish. Because staying still suddenly felt more dangerous than moving. 3 weeks later, it was gone. Here's what almost nobody tells you about money mistakes. They rarely come from ignorance. They come from urgency. And urgency is not a financial signal. It's an emotional one. Psychologists call this social proof. Our brains are wired to believe that if enough people are doing something, it must be safe, or smart, or both. For most of human history, this instinct kept us alive. If the group ran, you ran too. You didn't stop to analyze the threat. The ones who hesitated didn't pass on their genes. But that instinct wasn't built for markets. It wasn't built for a screen showing you a curated highlight reel of everyone's best moment, none of their worst ones. There's a second force at play, and it's even sneakier. It's called FOMO, but that word has become so casual we've stopped feeling its actual weight. Underneath FOMO is something closer to grief. The grief of imagining a future where you had the chance to change your life, and you let it pass because you were being careful. Smart people are not immune to this. If anything, they're more vulnerable to it. Because intelligence doesn't protect you from emotion. It just gives your emotions better arguments. A person who's used to trusting their own reasoning will talk themselves into almost anything, as long as the story feels logical enough. And bad trends are never sold as gambling. They're sold as insight. As being early. As finally being one of the ones who gets it, instead of one of the ones who's left behind. Pause here for a second. Think about the last time you made a fast financial decision. Was it because the numbers made sense? Or was it because you were scared of missing something everyone else seemed to already have? That answer matters more than most people admit. Here's a real pattern researchers have found. During periods of market speculation, the people most likely to buy in late, right before a collapse, are not the least informed. They're often the most educated. Because education creates confidence, and confidence, without emotional awareness, becomes a blindfold. Think about tulip mania in the 17th century. Educated merchants, doctors, and landowners, trading their homes for flower bulbs, convinced it was different this time. Think about the dot-com boom. Brilliant engineers throwing money at companies with no revenue, because the story of the future felt too real to ignore. The trend changes. The names change. The psychology never does. Here's the twist most people miss. The problem was never that Daniel was bad with money. The problem was that no one ever taught him what to do with fear. We spent years learning how to budget, how to save, how to read a chart. We spend almost no time learning how to sit with the feeling of being left behind. And that feeling, left untrained, will always find a way to spend your money for you. The people who avoid these traps aren't the ones who feel no fear. They're the ones who've learned to notice it before it makes the decision for them. They've learned to ask a simple, unglamorous question in the moment that matters most. Am I doing this because it's wise, or because I'm afraid of being the only one who didn't? That question won't make headlines. It won't give you a screenshot to share. But it's the difference between a decision you can stand behind, and one you'll spend years trying to explain to yourself. If you've ever made a money decision out of fear instead of clarity, you're not behind. You're not foolish. You're human, running on instincts that were built for a very different world than the one asking for your bank details. The goal was never to feel nothing. It's to notice the feeling, name it, and choose anyway, with your eyes open instead of your heart racing. That's not weakness. That's the quiet kind of smart that never gets a headline, but always gets to keep what it built.